What's up guys, it's Bruce here from Bruce's Lab, and today I got a new video. So recently the Isle of Armor was released for Pokemon Sword and Shield, allowing a lot of new Pokemon and especially moves into the game. This can be really fun because it gives us a lot of new stuff and new content to work with on the channel, which means you're going to expect a lot of content from me in the future. But today we're going to be looking at one of my favorite new Pokemon to be introduced into the game, PALOSSAND. PALOSSAND is a ground and ghost type Pokemon introduced in Generation 7 with the signature ability Water Compaction. An ability boosting one Spadef by 2 stages every time it is hit by a water type move. This can be incredibly interesting with some Pokemon in past generations such as Greninja, allowing it to Water Shuriken your own PALOSSAND, giving you pretty much a maxed out defense stat on the first turn of the game, especially since Water Shuriken is a priority move, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Another interesting thing about PALOSSAND is it now has access to the 70 base power ground move, Scorching Sands. Think of it as a Scald but ground type with 10 less base power. Scorching Sands is very interesting because it is a special ground move, being the second of its kind after Earth Power, that can actually do a decent amount of damage, although it is not as strong as Earth Power, and burn the opponent, meaning that it can actually make the opponent do less damage with their physical attacks, which is very important as you will, as I said, see in a little bit. This Pokemon can pair extremely well with the Pokemon Excelgor, one of the fastest Pokemon in the game, sporting an incredibly high speed stat, and also learning the move Water Shuriken, believe it or not. Some people, they just don't know this, but Excelgor does learn Water Shuriken, which is really interesting because it can allow us to perform the following combo. In order to perform this combo, you will need a PALOSSAND with the item Weakness Policy and the ability Water Compaction. Preferably give it min speed for the Trick Room matchup, and give it the following moves: Sludge Bomb, Shadow Ball, Scorching Sands, and Energy Ball. The next Pokemon you're going to need is an Excelgor, preferably max speed, and has the ability Unburden and the item Charity Berry. This is going to be important as you will see in a little bit. The moves you're going to want to give this Pokemon are Water Shuriken, Bug Buzz, Yawn, and Acid Spray, and I'll explain each of those in a little bit. So here's how this works. You lead off with these two Pokemon. On the first turn of the battle, you Dynamax your Colossal. From there, you click Water Shuriken onto your PALOSSAND, excuse me, not Colossal, PALOSSAND. You click Water Shuriken onto your PALOSSAND. From there, you will get a defense boost every time you are hit by a single Water Shuriken, ensuring a minimum of +4 defense and a maximum of +6 defense. On top of this, you will get a Weakness Policy boost, allowing you to hit +2 attack and special attack on the same turn. This will allow PALOSSAND to hit incredibly hard and take hits incredibly well, and pretty much make it a huge tank and a huge issue for the opponent. So how can we use this? This can be used in several case scenarios that I will explain now. The first of which is my favorite, which is the Tyranitar Excadrill matchup, as you can see on your screen. Tyranitar Excadrill is a huge threat to most teams in the metagame due to its ability to set up the sand, and then have a Pokemon such as Excadrill come in and just do a ton of damage and move incredibly fast. This can be completely circumvented by PALOSSAND by Water Shurikening it, since Water Shuriken, like I said, is a priority move, allowing you to max out your defense effectively on the first turn of the game before Excadrill can use a move such as Rock Slide. Rock Slide is the main reason we are using the Charity Berry on our Excelgor. This is to pretty much negate the amount of damage we can take from a rock type attack, because for anyone who doesn't know, the Charity Berry reduces the amount of damage you take from a super effective rock type move one time. And once it is consumed, it will give you the ability Unburden, doubling your speed, allowing you to be faster than the Excadrill in the future. We also know the moves Yawn and Acid Spray as support moves to allow you to put your opponent to sleep after a turn with Yawn and lower their Spadef so PALOSSAND can do more damage with Acid Spray. Now, the most important thing you really have to know is that our PALOSSAND is just going to be a coverage set with the moves Max Overgrowth and Max Ooze to be able to boost one special attack and just have 2 stabs on top of that. It's not really the most complicated set, but I do recommend messing around with the EVs a little bit so you can learn what works best for the PALOSSAND. This is the set that I think works the best, but you can choose whatever you want. So, what makes this viable? Well, this is viable because not many people are going to see it coming, but that's not the only thing that makes it viable. This can also work well with incredible cores such as Torkoal Venusaur, allowing the Sun to make Water Shuriken do less damage to your PALOSSAND, as well as some other more interesting cores such as Dusclops PALOSSAND, which will allow you to use Trick Room to make your PALOSSAND faster than the opponent. So what do you do to beat this? Well, the answer is pretty simple. The first thing you have to do is get any special attacker that can crit a move, or not. The best example of this is Inteleon with the Scope Lens item and the ability Sniper. This will allow you to pretty much have a 50% chance to crit the opponent with the move Snipe Shot, ignoring all SPDF boosts. Another Pokemon that can be a huge issue but not as much is the Pokemon Urshifu, a dark and fighting or a water and fighting Pokemon recently introduced into the game. Both of these Pokemon signature moves have the ability to always crit the opponent, but the water one is not as big of an issue because it hits multiple times, meaning that you'll get multiple water compaction boosts, but you'll still take a decent amount of damage because the water compaction will be ignored by the crit. The ground one on the other hand is a bigger issue because it only hits one time but does more damage and does not actually activate the water compaction. This can be really annoying for Palossand to deal with because, like I said, you're just taking a ton of damage, especially from a Pokemon such as Inteleon, and you're not going to be able to live any hit from a special attacker, really. And this is where being a ground type really helps out the Palossand, because it allows it to boost its SPDF with the max Quake based off of Scorching Sands. Now, you could run Earth Power over this, but I don't really find that as helpful because you just don't get as much utility out of it, So, yeah. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I really don't have much else to say. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. Also, I do have a Discord if any of you want to join, and feel free to check me out on Twitch where I do a lot of Pokemon-based streaming. And with that being said, I will see you all later. Peace.